Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, aka Keats39, here to bring you another episode of the Starting Five. Gonna be a lot of injury news as normal for NBA, so some of these guys may or may not end up in my final build. But for starting points, this is kind of where we're at today. Um, all right, so first, we got the news that KD is gonna sit with an Achilles injury, probably just rest, as he's been playing pretty heavy minutes. So that goes. My top stud of the day is probably Nikola Jokic, but you'll see shortly why I will not have him today. Um, but we get James Harden, who has been really, really good since joining the Brooklyn Nets. Can kind of write off this last one a little bit as a double overtime game, but the point that this is what these two numbers are what means the most to me right there is since joining the Nets, he's averaging like 9 rebounds a game, as well as all these assists. He's pretty much running the show as a point guard, which was to be expected. He's more of a point guard than Kyrie Irving is. Kyrie's more of a scorer than a passer. James Harden, as we've seen his whole career, has done a lot of both. But today it's back to being a big two. KD has been the best one. Honestly, probably a top two candidate for MVP along with Nikola Jokic to me. So getting no KD is going to open up a ton of shots. James Harden only took 14 in that double overtime game. Anyone that's watches sports shows know that there's been a lot of talk about that. I expect it to be up in the 20s for sure today, if not really, really close. As long as he keeps producing these rebounds and steals, like KD's a really good rebounder, so maybe a couple extra wouldn't really factor that in too much, but the shots is what's going to really get there for him. I just think that with the big three, it's literally they traded so they don't have any depth. So you're going to see that 40 minutes a game, at least probably today. I don't know if I don't really think that's going to hang around too long, but you're going to see 40 minutes probably today. Lots of shots, lots of passes. Hopefully we keep the assist rolling because at this 11K price point, we probably need it. But I just think that last year we were paying 12 to 13K for him, and I think it's a simpler role, maybe even a little better because Kyrie Irving isn't Russell Westbrook when it comes to ball hogging. So all he was last game, but I wouldn't factor that in too much. So yeah, definitely probably my top stud on the slate. So I'll just go ahead and say why I won't have Nikola Jokic, and it's because the two best values on the slate, DeMarcus Cousins. So we saw Christian Wood missed a game earlier. We saw 40 DK. So the one thing I do want to mention is that this game makes me think that he's not as good as chalk as his ownership's gonna say. Last time that Christian Wood missed, he was like 80% in the biggest GP, like the $15 GPP, which is absolutely unheard of. As I said, I'm not going to be one to fade him because that's not really my style. But if you want to go with like a tournament style, you could go Nikola Jokic and then Daniel Gafford, who I think is another awesome play. But definitely probably gonna have two of those three. More than almost 100% sure it's going to be DeMarcus Cousins and Daniel Gafford in most of my lineups. But we all know Boogie's really, really good when he plays. I expect he got 20. Scrolling down, but 23 minutes. Anywhere around 25 minutes, Boogie's going to smash 4.4. So he's going to be the highest player on the slate, and rightfully so. So then Daniel Gafford, we got an update that there's no Wendell Carter. And I don't know exactly how the Bulls are going to play this. Daniel Gafford's been good in his minutes. I don't know if they may just start Thad Young and move Lauri Markkanen into the center, which Bismack Biyombo isn't scary, so they definitely could. Or actually, and they might get Cody Zeller back, but he's not scary either, actually. No, I'm thinking about it. But either way, they could go either of those styles. Either way, like Daniel Gafford, like he's playing like 15 minutes a game, and even he's 3.1. Like he was a fine play before Wendell Carter was ruled out. He's just one of those guys that you could kind of count on to get 5x if you wanted to pay up for a bunch of studs. Today I expect him to get like 22 minutes or so, at least. And anyone that has been with us for a little while, it was last year's summer league. He was the very on the core for the very first one and went absolutely crazy in that summer league game. At watching back to his college stuff, he's just really active, gets really good on the rebounds, and flies to the rim. One of those guys that he's going to get you rebounds, he's going to get you blocks and steals because of how active he is. You always worry that scoring can be a problem just because he's an alley-oop dunker, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't really have much of a post game or anything. But with that said, I just think that 3K is just way too cheap, and I'm going to probably have him in all my lives. So now those are the three that I'm basically building around. These next two is something I could switch. Lauri Markkanen I will have a lock of him if Gafford were to not start and they start that young, because I really like playing guys I like playing power forwards when they start at center or play a lot of center minutes. Anyone you can follow any the bigger statistical guys, they have the better numbers than I do off the top of my head, but you just see how much Anthony Davis is a big one. I know Michael Gallagher talks a lot about it, how good Anthony Davis is when he plays center. I just think Lauri Markkanen is going to be the same way. You're going to get more rebounds, especially when you're out on the court with a guy like Bismack Biyombo. You're going to be around the rim a lot because you don't have to worry about him shooting, so there's just more opportunity. And he's been playing really well to start this year. Everyone knows he has really good rookie year. Last year was a big no-go for him. But then this year he's been off to a good start after 19-7. We're seeing him shoot the three ball a lot. He's been pretty good from it. Another thing, he's getting this 33 to 35 minutes. I expect that to be 35 for sure today, maybe up to 37 if we're lucky. I just think that he has a high floor and a massive ceiling at the 6.6 price. Really not much more to say on him other than I like playing these stretch bigs that play the 5 sometimes, and he's going to be forced to play them today. With that said, Thad Young, if he were to start, I'd like him. I'm not a big fan of him. They bumped his price up because he had a couple of good games. So unless he's starting, I don't have interest in him. But if he is starting, I will consider him. And finally, we're going with flipped his price from 9.5 to 59, which is where it should be. Honestly, me and Gator talked last slate, we would have paid 6.5 for him, and it's great where he finished value-wise. I'm only playing him if Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter were to miss. That's why these injury news are so big. If they both miss, we're going to see this 40 minutes from him again. Honestly, we could see it either way, but he'll be locked into the 40 minutes if not. He's just a really solid player, good passer, good rebounder, good shooter for his size. Or for his position, I guess I should say. And he gets a matchup with the Timberwolves, who turn the ball over, who like to play really fast. Let's see if they've gone. Yeah, get up to second most points in the NBA. So anytime you get these two fast-paced teams, it's going to be the best game stack. It's harder to stack on the Timberwolves side where they have a little bit of minutes are kind of everywhere and productions everywhere. But this Atlanta side, Kevin Huerter, Trae Young, Clint Capella, who's been absolutely absurd as of late. All those guys are really, really good plays. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Make sure to check back at Luck as always. Especially today, we're going to get more news as you typically do on an NBA slate. So these guys can change, but as of now, this is where I'm at. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and be in the chat around Lock later.